So as Chef just mentioned, we are awaiting President Trump to speak at the Department of Homeland Security after signing 2 executive orders there. One of those orders taking the first steps in constructing a wall along the U.S.-Mexico border. But how will Mr. Trump pay for it? Let's bring in Steve Moore, founder of the Committee to Unleash Prosperity. I like that. A former Trump economic advisor, a Fox News contributor. I mean, in so many ways, this is just sort of bookkeeping and semantics. It's not that hard to make them pay for it, but how you account for that, I don't know how meaningful it is. Let's dig into it. Number one, Steve, an import tariff with provisions that the funds go to pay for the wall. How possible do you think that is? How hard is that?
It's a possibility. It's not something I would necessarily favor, but, you know, it's something that Trump could potentially do unilaterally without congressional approval. These are murky laws about what the president can and can't do when it comes to trade tariffs and things of that nature. But if Trump wants to make Mexico pay for this wall, then one way to do it, Melissa, would be to have this effective tariff on goods that come in from Mexico and then dedicate that revenues to the cost of building the wall, which could be, we don't exactly know how much it could be. I've heard figures anywhere from $6 to $20 billion.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things that's pretty easy to do, but at the same time, my concern would be, can you really earmark that revenue to go to paying back the funds that were spent on the wall? With politicians, though, it can be, you're like, wait, where'd that money go? It's like, you know, roads, taxes on the roads. Go ahead.
You create essentially a trust fund, but you're right, Melissa. How many times has Congress raided that trust fund? So you've got a very good point there. But, you know, look, another way that conceivably President Trump, I'm still getting used to saying that, President Trump could pay for this wall would be to have some kind of tax at the border. So when a truck comes in or a person comes in and out of the country, and, you know, there are hundreds of thousands of border crossings every day, that you impose some kind of transaction tax at the border, and then you use that money for the wall. So that would be a possibility as well.
Right. The hitch with that one, though, in my mind, is that's everybody that comes over the border. I mean, that's not Mexico paying for the wall. That's sort of anyone who crosses the border paying, right? Or would you try and set something up where it was, you know, only Mexican citizens that were paying that tax?
Well, you probably have to do it in a way that everybody pays this sort of tax when it comes to the border. By the way, that wouldn't necessarily be a bad way to fund it, Melissa, because, you know, it's sort of like a user fee. You know, you're using the border, so therefore you pay for the security at the border. So it sort of makes sense from the perspective of a user pays.
Yeah.